This video is going to explore the Jungian archetypes of the hero and the anima, as described in Joseph Campbell's Hero with a Thousand Faces. I'm going to be using The Lion King, specifically the scene where Simba meets Nala, to make larger points about the Shakespearean use of gender as it relates to these Jungian archetypes. To define the anima simply, it is the feminine counterpoint in the soul. Narratively, with a male hero, this typically takes the form of a love interest. In our case, we have Simba and Nala.
Meaning?
One day you two are going to be married.
Yeah.
When we meet Nala, she's getting bathed, she's being silly, and she's teasing Simba a bit. And this is indicative, Jung would argue, of the way that women tend to make men feel self-conscious, especially young women and young men. Narratively, this is functioning where the anima is the one who is teaching the hero that they're incomplete, right? So Simba, the son of the king, he's confusing his privilege with competence. I mean, we even have a whole song where he just can't wait to be king. I mean, to him, it's just a waiting game.
Oh, I just can't wait to be king.
You've rather a long way to go, young master.
So he needs Nala to teach him of his own incompetence so that he can realize his actual potential. So this takes the form of the scene of the wrestling match in which Nala just pins Simba over and over and over, totally dominates him. And to bring in an idea from Jacques Lacan, the idea of projection, this is because Simba his adolescent love is taking the form of projection of ideal, of really of anima projection, which in turn judges him, defeats him, makes him act inferior and stupid. And this is because he's being defeated by his anima projection, which is an inaccurate representation of Nala or of the other. Simba is too young at this point in the movie. He hasn't challenged his adolescent value structure yet. So their interaction brings them to the elephant's graveyard, in which they encounter death. And their curiosity makes them knowledgeable of death, because even though they're not meant to go explore into the elephant's graveyard, they still do. And we all know the saying about curiosity in cats. So to bring back another idea of Lacan is that all drives are sex drives. So that would follow that death drive is a sex drive. So we have this wonderful metaphor here, this wonderful visual metaphor, where we have two lion cubs wrestling, which is really the hero wrestling with his own anima. And this is such a wonderful visual metaphor for not only these Lacanian or Jungian narrative functions and ideas, but for the essential struggle, Shakespearean struggle between the genders themselves. And so we know how the film ends. First, Simba has to address his own inadequacies and adolescent value structure, and he does this in the scene where he makes the appeal to Mufasa, his dead father, and Mufasa, literally like God, is cutting through the heavens and speaking to him like, you know, it's the old archetype of God and the Son. And when Simba actualizes his potential by the end of the movie and he defeats the antagonist of Scar, which is really his shadow, to borrow more from Jung here, he defeats his own shadow, he actualizes his potential, and then he marries Nala, and they have children, which Joseph Campbell would describe as the mastery of two worlds here. This is the cyclical nature of the hero's journey. To return to the idea of the anima and the function of gender here, it's important both in the Shakespearean sense and in narrative analysis of the film via Campbell that Simba and Nala marry and have children at the end. The irony is something that adolescent Simba wouldn't have been able to grasp before his transformation, is that Nala, the anima, the feminine, is the essential piece to not only Simba's success in this particular story, but also in a larger context, the hero's success in the hero's journey. And this is precisely the essential function of gender in these types of narratives.